In 2013, I took over a church that my dad had started in a town called Velkom.
Yeah.
Next to Bloemfontein. Yeah. I was basically senior pastoring there for like 5 years straight.
5 years?
Yeah, 5 years straight, senior pastoring there with my then wife. So, church becomes a drag. You get on the pulpit, you hold that mic, you see the response, you see what's happening in the lives of people. That's a high.
It's like a dopamine.
Maybe, yeah, that's it. A dopamine rush. And you get off.
Yeah.
And you're back to your life. And after ministering, we as pastors, as worship leaders, and everybody who's just ministering, when the anointing lifts, we sink into a depression. We sink into an emptiness. Please tell me how I can help or what do I need. Listen, number one thing on the list that I need when I've lost someone in my life is money. Thank you for the support of SMS event supporting. Thank you for checking on me. Highly, highly appreciate. It's important. But there's a very obvious need. Obvious. You know, I did that episode walking into it, you know, as I felt, we gotta address rape in society. Cool. I'll go into it like that. Even on that day, I have technical problems. One camera, 2 cameras didn't work. And I've got one camera working. Like, this episode has even that footage I don't need trust. Should I even release it? The team I was working at the time encourages me. Let's release it. Let's go. We do it, bro. It becomes one of the most.
That thing.
It trended.
That thing.
What it did for her. Yeah. What it did for us. For viewership. Yeah. Amazing. So, you know, there's a God factor in this. But to go back to your question, yes, podcasting is hard. It's not as easy. There's so much that goes into it. Yeah. I am learning that it's fun for a very short time. Yeah. It's fun for a very short time.
Very short time.
After that, your commitment to it is going to be tested. Yeah. Do you really want to stay in this?
Ask if we.
Let me tell everybody. Like, you know this, I know this. Just tell everybody. Listen,
I'm not sure if I know. But
there is right now in South Africa. There's no money in podcasting.
No, there isn't.
So the things that you see us doing, no matter how many followers I have, I just hit 10,000 subscribers. All of that viewership, the celebrities that we rub shoulders with during interviews. Don't think that we have money. Listen, it's a big misconception. Yeah. And I see your focus, your drive, and the standard of excellence that you're pushing. We are learning so much, man. Thank you.
And we are learning. I was going with him until he said we are learning. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today on the Gospel Reality Podcast. And today I've got a big brother. You know, people who have done things before you. He's here in studio. But before we get into our big brother, please make sure that you subscribe and like our content. Today, don't just subscribe to the Gospel Reality Podcast only. There's the UNCHRISTIAN Podcast in studio today. Ne? So you must make sure you subscribe to both. Ne? Mbuso weZulu must grow.
Yes, sir.
And before we move forward, our song of the week today is by Ngubeko, Heal Our Land. I think it's featuring Boloja. It's Boloja, ne? Right? He's singing in Swati. Okay. That song has been in my spirit for the longest of time. Ne? Yeah. And it's always in my playlist. So, Babu Ngubeko. Beautiful song, beautiful rendition. And the funny thing is, I think it was a studio album. You know, I'm always live. It must be live. And studio album got to me. So please check it out. Heal Our Land by Mr. Ngubeko Mbata. But ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, today I've got a giant. a giant. Eh? Ponzo.
How.
That's how you introduce a man of God.
Yeah.
You can't just say.
This guy, you are talking.
Ndumiso Mazibuko, Grand Brian.
Glenn, wait, how's it?
I'm good, man.
Yeah, man, I'm honored to be sitting here once again. No, not once again, finally. That's the word I'm looking for. It's been a long time coming.
Le?
I'm honored. Mama made it. I'm sitting
please.
on this podcast.
Please.
Yeah, man, and well done. You're doing so much incredible work.
Really?
Yeah, man, I see your focus, your drive, and the standard of excellence that you're pushing. We are learning so much, man. Thank you.
And we are learning. I was going with him until he said we are learning.
Indeed, we are.
I said we are learning.
And I was saying to Ponzo before this, finally I get to see this collection on the wall. This CD and here.
I was going with him until we are learning. I was like,
made it, Mama.
But my brother,
Yeah,
Jesus.
man. Yeah, Jesus.
It's all about Jesus,
Ah,
man.
man, the name above all names.
One name, Baba.
Everything we do is about this.
But this
Jesus.
So figure up. Ponzo, you don't know about this man. This man was groomed to be a pastor from a very early age.
Yeah.
Groomed to be a pastor.
Yeah.
Chuti inheritance yebandla nje ibhekane nayo.
Yeah, there was no other way.
I didn't know you were a pastor.
Yeah. Still am a pastor.
No, but
like I was pastoring a church.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure, man. I grew up as a PK.
Yes.
Both parents.
Notorious.
Both parents pastors.
Yeah.
My dad is still pastoring in Newcastle, KZN, where my hometown is. They were pastoring with my mother until she recently passed away. So even my siblings and my extended family, it's always been a family of ministers and people who just serving God. There's that heritage in the family. And after high school, I went to Bloemfontein, Free State. And I started what I thought would be a very successful and budding legal career. And so I'm a law dropout. I studied law, dropped out, going for full-time ministry, serving under the church I was at the time. And there I was, started serving, leading. I was ordained officially as a pastor in 2003. I was very young.
Let me cut. As a pastor, apostle, evangelist.
Pastor.
Just a pastor.
Yeah, just a pastor.
Okay.
You know, I get to my levels. You start being minister, then pastor. Must be born Gucci. Then you're apostle. At the end of the day, maybe when you've ascended to certain realms of anointing, but you are apostle now.
I guess there was a pastor here who said, what did he say? What you are ordained as is what you are. So if you are ordained as an evangelist, that's what you are. If you're ordained.
Yeah, it doesn't always work that way.
Really?
Yeah. People use the office of pastor as like an entry level office, like an entry level job. You start there, and then they'll reordain you again to something else later on. But
level you're talking about.
Level, you know. Yeah. So ministered in Bloemfontein. I ministered for like 8 years. I was primarily responsible for students on campuses because we established the ministry there on 2 campuses: University of the Free State and Central University of Technology. I served there 8 years. Those were my formative years and like really good training years in ministry and leadership and all that. But interestingly, now I'm a media professional, right now, as you know. My love for media developed in church. I started in church.
Oh, okay.
With that. So everything I'm doing for business and all of that and marketing and branding, it all began by serving in church, and I'm basically God taught in this because I didn't study formally for it. After Bloemfontein in 2013, I took over a church that my dad had started in a town called Velko.
Yeah.
Next to Bloemfontein. Yeah. I was basically senior pastoring there for like 5 years straight.
5 years?
Yeah, 5 years straight, senior pastoring there with my then wife. And then 2018 came to Joburg. Yeah. People ask me all the time, are you ever going to start another church? Are you ever going to be a senior pastor again? My answer is always, guys, ministry is expensive.
So is podcasting.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, and it's not even a money thing.
Yeah.
It's not even a money statement.
Yeah.
It's expensive. It costs your life. It costs a lot to
Yeah.
be in ministry. When I see people doing well in ministry, I know I get excited for them, but I know they're paying a price.
Yeah.
Ministry is for dead men and women. You must be dead
Sure.
to yourself.
Sponsor, did you give this guy my notes?
We'll talk more about this.
Well, let's get into it now. So,
Yeah.
So I feel I've been around pastors all my life. Ne? I still ask God today, please don't bring this pastoring thing to me. 'Cause I've seen how hard it is to be a pastor. That thing is tough, and especially if it's in the house. I've got a bit more grace for PKs. People like you can't judge them too much. That thing is tough, and it must, like, ministry has got money now. It looks like it's got money now, but back in the days, when it was tough, it was tough. You see the offering basket. You can see there's coins, like 10 rand, I tunyan, and you try to understand. Okay, how do we maintain all these things? And my argument was it should break you somehow. So I was traveling with this pastor, an apostle, and we'd set up. So we had the best music, and the word, that guy, proper. We set up a tent, proper band, full band.
Yeah.
We play beautiful music.
Yeah.
Kids will come and play here.
Yeah.
People will not come. After all that, people will not come.
Everything.
And I've seen this man work for God and try and bring excellence.
Yeah.
Did it break you, this thing, the ministry?
It did. Ministry did a number of times. There are 3 critical times where ministry broke me. I'll start with what I can say maybe the latest. One of the big contributing reasons to my marriage breaking was ministry. I'm not saying that ministry is the entire reason, but one of the reasons was that those years I spent in Velcom.
In Velcom, yeah.
Those were, Helmo said something, but I know people are going to be what. It was hard.
It was hard, ne?
Very. I was a total misfit. That decision to go and take over that work, it was a decision really to save my dad's life. If you and I'll explain that my dad's health had taken a knock. And I mean, he was staying in KZN, Newcastle, with my mom, and he was traveling every week. And his health started to deteriorate a bit, and he still had to push. And just the nature of the problems in the church, and that traveling and that stress were absolutely not good for him.
Well, he was traveling from Newcastle to Velcom.
Yeah. That's like 3.5 hours, 4 hours, maybe, if the roads were bad, every week. And there were problems in the church, and coming from the training that I had and what I knew I could do in the ministry, I took a decision that I really need to save my dad's life. It was for him.
Nah.
I won't say that I was assigned by God, to go there per se, but yes, I was led by God to do that. But primarily, I saw my dad dying, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this.
Nah.
And it was a very controversial decision because where I was serving, I was quite senior, prominent a bit, and my name was synonymous with that ministry. So it was quite a big shock when I decided to do that. But I had to. So there are things that are more important than that. Do I regret doing that? Maybe that's your next question. I don't know. Do I regret doing that?
I think the best way to ask
know.
the best way to ask this is, given another chance, would you do it again?
No.
Okay.
I
think his pen.
I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't, or no, I'd still.
No, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't do it. there's something I'm dealing with now with my therapist that I see almost weekly. I'm dealing with a complex I have, which is a savior complex.
Savior complex.
Yeah, I've got a savior complex.
So you must be a hero.
I've got a hero. I want to save everybody. I want to help.
And do you forget yourself in the process?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Me and this guy are suffering from the same.
And it's one of the things that have put me into trouble in my own mental health, even physical health. That put me to trouble. And it sounds very noble. It sounds noble to serve and be there for people and give out of yourself, but it's one of the most dangerous things. I realized that we don't have to die and sacrifice for ministry. And that's a controversial statement there, because Jesus died for his people. Jesus died for people.
I'm sure he died, so you don't have to die.
I'm not gonna. We are not called to die again.
Us.
For people. That's not the will of God for us.
Ne?
We look at the martyrs in the Bible, and some of them, they suffered having to die for their lives because of what they believe. Yeah, maybe you can die for the gospel. You can, but dying for ministry, sacrificing your children for ministry, allowing ministry to kill your family, your business, your livelihood. I don't think we're definitely called for that.
Amen. It's, what do you call it? The works of God as opposed to being the God of the works.
Absolutely. Yeah, we lose that balance.
Ne?
One lesson I learned back then was that there is a clear difference between God and church.
And ministry.
And ministry, we think it's the same thing. And so we can take our hard work and our success and how much we give in ministry and make it feel like this means that I'm closer to God, or I'm serving God right, or I'm relating with God in a good or a better way. But there's a difference between God and ministry. And I realized that when I was at my lowest twice, where I looked through my phone, at those times where you need someone to talk to, and I struggle to find any friend who was not a pastor, leader, church person. And I was going through something where I did not want church answers. I needed a man to talk to. I needed a human being to talk to. So I'm struggling. What do I do? You start to realize when that world is shaken up, that ministry or church world is shaken, and like me at the time, making the mistake of making my world church. My world became church. When that is shaken, it then shakes your sense of identity. So it threw me into an identity crisis, and I had no idea who I was.
Hey man, as you're speaking, I'm trying to check the map of my journey, and I'm thinking, I think there was a time where I was like that, where everything, Monday to Friday you work, and then during the week you go to church, and Saturday choir practice, Sunday you go to and that becomes your life. And I think I fought it. Yeah. But now I miss it.
You miss it.
But now I miss it. Ne?
Yeah.
Like being in a worship team, it was a nice experience.
Yeah.
But it also came with church head for me. Being in the worship all my life. And I've never had a pastor say, no man, guys, let me do a braai for you guys.
Oh.
We're not even talking about, I'm not talking about paying. No, let me just do a braai. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
And you don't see those things. And when you start hearing people talk about church heads, you realize, this thing is real.
And I'll tell you what it is, my brother. Church, ministry, serving God, it gives us great fulfillment. It gives us great fulfillment. We see lives change.
Yeah.
We see how the impact of it.
Of course.
You think, I'm the first one to arrive, the last one to leave. But no, man, the effect that this is having on people's lives is so great. And it's fulfillment. It's contentment. It's a great feeling. But now there's a thin line right there that we cross. And we don't realize that we cross it. And here it is, that church can become a drug. Can become a drug.
Ne?
Yeah, where we go to church, or we are involved in church, or we just attend to receive, we have the experience, and the experience gives us a high. But there are issues that we have not dealt with ourselves internally. You go home and you're facing life, and so church sometimes doesn't equip us to face life. It equips us to serve. So church becomes a drag. You get on the pulpit, you hold that mic, you see the response, you see what's happening in the lives of people, and that's a high.
It's like a dopamine.
Maybe, that's it. A dopamine rush. And you get off.
Yeah.
And you're back to your life. And after ministering, we as pastors, as worship leaders, and everybody who's just ministering, when the anointing lifts, we sink into a depression. We sink into an emptiness.
I was talking to this pastor, and no, I wasn't really talking. He came out, and we later found out that he had concubines everywhere he preached.
Oh man,
he had concubines.
Jeez.
He would preach powerful sermons.
Yeah,
and then go find.
Had
a girlfriend in almost every state or city.
Absolutely.
And I asked myself, how? When that man preached, even I'm like, hey man, but it came out that those things, is that,
bruh,
you just made it make sense.
Yeah, I've had an episode on my podcast entitled "Why Am I So Horny After Ministry?" That was the title of the episode.
After preaching, you are thinking of. Didn't much.
Yeah. Recently, Pastor Enoch Piri said it somewhere as well. Wasn't it here? I don't know, but anyway.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Why? And it's just not about sexual arousal only. But after that, your flesh is like a sponge to all kinds of cravings. So it could be alcohol, it could be sex, it could be a need for emotional attachment, it could be any kind of addiction, it could be sugar.
I watched this episode. Kelia once more. You're talking to once more and your brother.
Yeah. I spoke about this thing. And many ministries really fail, or many ministries die on Sunday afternoons when Muruti is alone. Yeah. Worse if Muruti is not married. When he's alone. He's trying to watch soccer there. He's trying to watch Manchester City playing, but that experience takes so much out of you that you gotta be very careful afterwards. A friend of mine this past weekend held a beautiful event, gathering some people, and I sent her a message yesterday, and I just said, listen, congratulations, I was there, I saw it, but I just I feel led to just say this. It was after Mount Carmel, Elijah calling down fire from heaven, that Jezebel chased him. Jezebel chased him into a depression and chased him to the point of suicide. Because ministry, guys, eats so much out of you. Preaching looks easy. And by the way, we'll get to this. Preaching is the easiest thing about ministry. It's the easiest thing about ministry. A pastor, your pastor, is a preacher to your life. He is your psychologist, he's your lawyer, he's your finance guru. He has to be all these things to you. When people have died in your family, he has to be there for you. There's so much demand on him as an office. I realized, and this is a message for all of us, that we are doing a disservice by not keeping our pastors in prayer. Because Baba, they go through. And when I say things like this, and you tell me what you hear, what did you just hear, what I just said? People think I am making that office super important and super special. Ekari, other jobs are not also draining and tiring. But I can speak for what I know.
Of course.
The most dangerous times for me as a minister is not when I walk in a mall and I see a beautiful girl, or it's not when I am at an event and I've got an opportunity to sing. It's when all of you have said, yo, Murutunali powerful today. Yo, we are so blessed. At that time, I am at my lowest, because everything I've done on stage was because of the anointing.
Yes.
And that anointing was not for me. It was for you. as the audience, I still need to have a secret place with the Lord where I'm going to be refueled. And if I don't have that discipline, I'm in huge trouble.
You're in trouble.
But also I need people who would minister to me.
Yeah.
And I need to have my own pastor in my life as a pastor.
Covering, or what do they call it?
Yeah, you can call it covering, mentoring, spiritual fathering.
Yeah.
You know, there are wrong ways and right
So
ways.
it's important, I think, ne?
Very important. Very important. There is no teacher who's qualified to teach who doesn't have a teacher themselves. Think about it, man. No, you gotta have a place of accountability. It's not transactional. It's not like, I've got a spiritual father. That means every month I must tithe to him. I must be there carrying his Bible. It has nothing to do with that. It's a place of relationship. It's a place of filling. It's a place of accountability. It's a place where all of you who are sitting in the audience, listen to me minister, are interested in what I do. My pastor who speaks into my life is not impressed with that. He wants to know, how am I doing?
Correct.
What kind of father am I? You know,
how's the wife and kids?
How's the wife and kids? What's happening in the house? Is there
financially?
Food? Is there food in the fridge?
Ramashia said it, ne?
Yeah, even Koketo. He said the
he
same
said
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, Blaski Braya Koketo.
Yeah, no, that's my point. That's my point. We have these very same conversations when we hear him. Yeah.
No, I'm glad Koketo was here and he told us exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And no, man, let's leave this thing I'm ministering. But as we move along, ne? So now when you see Bo Koketo, Bo Lungindala, Bo Pastor Maluleke, young pastors, thriving churches,
love them,
growing,
love them.
Don't you feel now you should step in the ring as well?
I lost that FOMO a long time ago.
Really?
Because of this, what I'm saying. That I know that when I see a Koketo, when I see a Colin Maluleke, whoever is doing well according to our books.
Yeah.
According to our books.
According to
our books.
Because we see Instagram, churches full. Yeah. We think they are fine.
Okay, number one, let's get something right, guys. And I love this camera. I love my audience.
That's the one. That's yours.
You know, we can be anything on social media.
Of course. Greatest disguise.
I can be anything. Social media is not real life. So the stuff that you see that we post on social media as ministers and pastors, that is work for us. I'm not saying we're being fake, but there are people who are fake. When Uma Mustole was on my podcast some while ago, she was talking about, I mean, she's an OG, been in the game for years. She was talking about how when God was going to open platforms for them internationally, in other words, to minister, it was their track record that spoke for them. It was someone vouching for them, saying, listen, I know this person. You can trust them in all of it. Right now, as things stand, all I need is a good social media strategy and a good website, a good clips, good content, and by that, you're going to judge me as a good pastor.
Of course.
But when I come to your church, I sleep with 2 girls there on that night. And there's no character. So, when I see, and I tell all of them that I have privy to talk to privately, but once more, so whoever is my friend, I said, guys, when I see you rise, I'm not praying for your success and your ministry and your gift. I think, number one, you've got other people praying for you about that, but also you've got God for that, you know, helping. Yes, I wish you well. I'm excited by the success you see. I am praying for your marriage. Sure. That's the only I'm praying for your marriage.
Mona, let's move on from this. But look, you're absolutely right.
Real.
A lot of pastors put out a facade.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how many pastors that I've had in my life, and I've heard of seen them divorce. Yeah. I'm like, oh, what was that about?
Yeah.
And then you realize that, no, man, you know what? There's much more to this thing.
Yeah.
Mona, let's move on from this one, because if we stay on this,
we'll go.
We'll go. Because I've got even questions for days. I remember my pastor Lungindala. I was outside church. I said, Mfundisi, you need to get a bigger church. I don't know where he was driving from. Then he drove to church. He was not at church that day. And then he came and said, no, we must expand. And I realized how much of a job this is for him. He had to drive from where he was, come, reassure the church because people are sitting outside. There's not enough space. I'm sitting outside. I'm thinking, sure, this guy's growing. And in my head, I'm thinking, he's got good problems. Can't you don't know, eh?
Fit. And last thing on this, the most painful thing sometimes is that we have very few people to talk to.
Nah.
Because if I talk, just example, I call you, I talk to you as my friend and my brother after, I don't know, I've done something. And bro, I'm like, yes, I am facing temptation right now and I'm about to do something stupid. Firstly, can I even come to you for that?
Correct.
Because my fear is that if I'm vulnerable like that to you, how are you going to see me next time?
Sure. And anyway, let's pass this. Mona, let's talk a bit about marriage, ne?
Yeah, let's go.
But before we talk about marriage, there's a as I was sitting there, I said, let me look up this guy again. And I saw a very interesting conversation you had with Koketo about grief.
Yeah, man.
I think people must go check out that episode, Koketo and Pastor Koketo and Pastor Ndumiso talking about grief.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about me, that episode, I was sitting like this, thinking to myself, oh my goodness. I could feel everything you're saying. Eh?
Yeah.
But the biggest challenge I have is, I don't understand if it's our culture, but this thing of, we've got a grieving family, feeding multitudes, and making sure that we pay for the bus for them to come to the funeral site.
Yeah.
We pay for the food.
Yeah.
People waste the food.
Yeah.
But people bring cooler bags for Visonons and drink expensive alcohol. That was my biggest issue. I buried my grandma, I think, a month ago.
Sure. So sorry for that.
Yeah. And I realized I didn't even have a chance to grieve. Because I was running around to make sure that people are fine.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we need spice, they tell me. We need this, they tell me.
They tell you.
And the ladies that came to cook, no, I drink Corona. I had to make sure, because they came to cook for free. They must get whatever. And when I said drink, I was like, that can't be right.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Sure.
But I'm like, that can't be right.
Man.
I missed an important moment of grieving because I was running around. And I heard you talk about breaking down. Yeah. And I remember I went to the room and I broke down alone. I was like, I'm running around. And my granny, I just lost my granny. I must run around for these people. Yeah. And white people have got it. Eh? They give you biscuits.
Yeah.
Go home and tea.
Yeah, and they got it. I envy that from white people, man.
Nah.
It's African culture to be hospitable, right?
Yeah.
Whatever we do as people, as black people, African people, it's not even a South African thing. Our joy is in food. So whatever we are gathering to do does not make sense until there's a lot of food. Right? That's one aspect. But then we have adopted something as Africans. I don't know where we've got it from. I look to the West, I can't see it, so I don't know where we got it from. The level of opulence and luxury that we think that an honorable funeral
should be.
It's ridiculous. My family and I burying my mom in April, we spent just over 100,000 rand. 100,000 rand. Like, what the hell? We are at our lowest. We've lost our matriarch. Not okay, but we felt like we were organizing a conference because we started to realize more and more people are coming, and the funeral ended up having 700 people maybe. Of which 300 of that was just pastors because of what my parents have done. And the food budget was so high. Tents, transportation of people. Someone wants to come to the funeral, but they want you to pay for it.
Correct.
To come.
And then some of them, they come a night before. Yeah, where can we sleep?
Now you're organizing. We need to have a conversation as Africans.
Ne?
We need to get into FNB Stadium and have an Imbizo and talk about this as African people. Guys, let's talk about this.
What is this?
This is ridiculous. We need to strip down on that. And I could probably say the same for weddings.
Yeah. No, look, wedding I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right, but I understand.
Sure.
It's a celebration.
Yeah.
If you call me to celebrate with you, feed me. I get it.
Cool.
I'm grieving.
Yeah.
Ne? And I say to people, at least a person who comes to a funeral, at least take out 70 rand. At least pay for your plate.
Something.
Because if you go to a caravan, your plate will cost you about 70 rand.
You see what I'm saying?
At least take out 70 rand when
Yeah.
you go to a funeral.
Yeah.
Your donation or your contribution must be 70 rand.
Yeah.
What's your account number? Here's 70 rand.
Yeah. What I can tell you and say to most people when you are calling someone who's just lost a loved one, and you say, please let me know if there's anything I can...
Oh! Bruh, I'm glad you brought that up. I got so irritated by some of my friends who did that. Ne? Because I feel like, he says, somebody will call you and say, yeah, if you need anything, tell me. Then I just say, okay. And it irritated me to the core because if you feel like, if you know your capability is 300, take out that 300.
Do something.
Balance here.
Yeah.
If 50% of the people who have attended took out 300 rands, would be okay.
Yeah. And please tell me how I can help or what do I need. Listen, number one thing on the list that I need when I've lost someone in my life is money. Thank you for the support of SMS email and supporting. Thank you for checking on me. Highly, highly appreciate it. It's important. But there's a very obvious need. Obvious. No one has to teach you or tell it or say it. It's money.
Straight.
People, we have to pay for the grave.
The grave.
We have to pay for that. To pay for that. We have to pay for so many things. Guys.
No, guys, we're playing. This thing, please, please. I think, let's try and make this a rule, guys. Yeah. Forget condolence messages. They are good, but in my case, they were useless because I would see it's a condolence and I'll switch off. But in e-wallet, I was like, okay, I can close that gap. I can close that gap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's encourage each other, brethren. Yeah. When you close a gap when you go to a funeral.
Yeah. Close a gap.
Even if it means you come there and you're just there, and you say, because I've got a friend of mine who came and said, "But I'm here. What do you need?" That is
exactly what you want.
What do you need?
I'm not going to call you.
Exactly.
Can you come and help? Bro, I'm very vulnerable at the time. I don't even know if you're gonna say yes. I can't even take rejection at the time. If you say no, I can't take it.
Correct.
So it's an obvious. Please don't ask. It's obvious. I need your presence. I need your money. But it also taught me. It humbled me.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying this to throw shots. It humbled me. I realized how many mistakes I made with people who lost loved ones, and I didn't do this that I'm saying. So it's a lesson learned for me as well. But just know.
So my friends called me the chicken man. So if you were to call me and says, we've got, I just lost my mom.
Sure.
First thing I do, when I don't have money, I must find it. I buy 16 chickens.
16 chickens?
16 chickens.
Okay.
They call me the chicken man. Because chicken is difficult to get at funerals.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, the cheapest thing, let me get one thing out of the way. But this is what I brought. Then be like, I'm here. Yeah. If anything you need, I'm here.
Yes.
And I feel like, you long for that, and fortunately a lot of my friends did that for me because you just need somebody to say, man, some of them, they don't even have to take out money. I'm here.
Yeah.
Whatever, I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, but
you took me back.
I'm telling you, and there's a big conversation we need to have as Africans about grief. At my mom's funeral, I didn't cry. I still haven't cried.
Nah.
During the funeral week and all of that, I was busy with arrangements. My brothers and I, sisters-in-laws, were busy with the arrangements in the family. And so this thing, every day coming closer to the funeral, this funeral is getting bigger and bigger. Bigger and bigger. And you're realizing, oh man, we're in trouble here.
Yeah.
But we had amazing people. I must say, we had amazing people, bro, who came through for us.
That's great, man.
Bro, when someone sends you 10K,
you know what I'm saying?
Who does that, man?
You know what I'm saying?
It's like, damn, man, 10K, see what you clothe. He didn't ask. He knew.
There's a need.
I'll never forget that. You know, there is automatically a need. We know, guys. Don't ask, what do you need, what can I do? Hey.
Do what you can.
Just go.
Even if it's 100 rand.
Bruh.
You talked about something. You said, but you're a Zulu man, crying. Kanjan. You guys don't cry. Do Zulus cry?
Mina, I don't have that problem with I don't want to cry. I don't want to express.
So you actually want to cry?
Yeah, absolutely. I consider myself very in touch with my emotions. I live with mental health issues for a while, even before anything to do with my mom. I've been dealing with depression and anxiety for a while in my life. So therapy, medication, all of that is something I pay attention to. I confront my state of mind and emotions. But something happened with that funeral. I couldn't cry at all. Even now, after the funeral, I've been in therapy for almost every week. I feel the pain. I feel the emotions attached to grief. But I even raised it with my therapist a couple of times. Why am I not crying? You know, why am I not crying?
I thought it's because Zulu men don't cry.
There is that, you know, with Amazulu, but we're realizing,
But there's something strange I find about you.
Yeah.
You are so open about talking about mental health.
Yeah.
Talking about mental health is equivalent to erectile dysfunction.
Hey.
People don't talk about those things. Those two things.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Because it says weak.
It says, yes, it's a problem.
It says we are low.
It says you're weak.
Ne?
You know, God had to teach me, and this is when my podcast started, right? God had to teach me. He said, I want you to lead and minister through vulnerability. And so I have been very bold and intentional about becoming a vulnerable person. So if you and I sit for a coffee and you ask me how I am, I will ask you, do you want the short answer or the honest answer? You choose. Because here's the thing, when people say, hey, how are you doing? They're not really expecting the truth.
Yes.
Yeah. They are saying, I hope you're well. I really, really hope you're well as I think that you are. We're not really asking each other. So I can leave a conversation and I think we caught up and I think we hang out and I think we connected. But I was never open to you. You were not open for me. We're always on the surface. Talk about things that don't matter, especially with us men. As men. So vulnerability is key for me. I minister through vulnerability. I'm going to be speaking at two men's conferences this weekend and the following. When I'm on stage speaking, I make people uncomfortable. I go into Ndumiso myself. I become honest to a point where sometimes if there are recordings done, I sometimes ask, please edit that out, because some things we say assigned by God ministering, but they're there for those people.
For that, yeah.
Because we are living in an era of bite-sized clips. People take stuff you said. And then context, everything becomes about what you just said. But I've realized that I will help more people with my wounds than my strengths.
Oh. You can help more people with your wounds than your strengths. Absolutely. Or your achievements. Hey, man.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, my brother.
Yeah.
You used to be a family man.
Yeah.
Is it a lighter note?
I don't know.
On a different note.
Let's make it a light note.
Family man, you were married with kids.
Yeah.
And everyone I spoke to about you, but you're a great dad.
Yeah. I
felt like, sure. And everyone spoke. One thing, no, that guy's a great father. Do you stay with your kids?
No. My kids stay with mommy. And I get to see them on weekends and school holidays.
Are you cool with mommy?
Yeah, not 100%, but yeah, I'm cool. We have an understanding that the kids are important. Number one, so we are not a bickering co-parenting team. We don't like argue all the time and fight. The kids, if we disagree, the kids won't see it. Yeah, but we try to do that by all means. The hardest thing of divorce for me was about the kids. The fact that I would not be staying with them anymore. I was hard because I'm so close with my kids.
I can imagine, man.
You know, and yeah.
And I've read somebody told me that you are in a process of your life where you are rebuilding.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Rebuilding means you're starting from the ground up.
Yeah.
So you've got an ex-wife, you've got kids.
Yeah.
The kids need financial support.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine if you're rebuilding, there are times where you can't meet those obligations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has that dealt with you, your psyche, your position in your kid's life?
You know, I told you that I deal with a lot of mental health issues, and I'll dwell into some of the specifics about what's going on with me internally, if you even want to take it there. But one of the biggest things that affects me is if there's something that the kids need and I don't have.
Boss. Hey.
So
Sure.
I can't explain that feeling.
Ne?
I can't explain that feeling.
It's tough, eh?
And there was a moment this year where I felt in my vision and in what I want for my life, I want to be a great dad. I work for that very hard. I make sure that when I'm with them, I connect. I'm not that dad with a straight face. I really love my kids. I do my daughter's hair. The time that I felt that I'm not a good dad, I really felt it, honestly. And then my son brings me his phone and he needs help with something on his phone, something on WhatsApp. And I see how he saved me, my name, and he called me the best dad. That my name on his phone is called best dad. Man, that floored me.
Slam dunk.
That floored me, man. I was like, wow.
And at that time, you feel like you're not doing enough.
Absolutely.
Nah.
Absolutely. I still feel that way.
Nah. Hey, man.
Best dad. And I was like, what?
I feel like I'd be living well if it wasn't for my kid. Like, I'd have a lot of money.
Yeah.
These guys are expensive.
Hey. Now try having 3.
I'm done. The shop is closed.
You can't, bro. You can't.
But you said something very interesting. You told me that you've sent cows.
Yeah.
Now we had Apostle Maxwell Ramashia.
Yeah.
Who said, Lobola is a heist. Christians are not supposed to pay lobola.
Very interesting. I only saw that clip last night. And it's not even that, because last night you and I spoke, right?
Yeah.
About today. I was not even talking to you at the time.
Yeah.
And then I see the clip. What happened? I sent it to some. Oh, no, I responded to you.
Yes.
And I told you that, hey, brah.
Yeah. You got.
I've got a story to tell here.
Kapile now. Do you think lobola is a heist?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, lobola is a scam, guys. I'll tell you what, and it's a discussion I want to have with the mother of my children.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to her. She's doing an amazing job.
Your ex-wife?
Yeah.
Hey.
I want to give a shout out to her. Ndumiso. She's doing an amazing job with the kids. She's legally, she's called primary primary caregiver. That's all right. Stays with them. 3 kids are not easy, bro. Every day, and I can be a present dad. I can whatever. But she's carrying the brunt of the work. She's doing an amazing job. I never divorced because she was a horrible bad person. She's doing an amazing job. But I really want to give her kudos. My daughter, who last born, she's 6. Every term this year, she's in grade R. She's been getting top performance in the class academically.
And that's not easy, eh?
That's not easy. And the mother's doing an amazing. So I really honor and salute and shout out to her, regardless of whatever differences we may have. She's an amazing mom. I forgot your question. Please, I need to finish your question.
So you took me somewhere else now.
Yeah.
In your marriage, was there nothing you could do to salvage it? Or there's nothing you could have done? Because it sounds like she's a
solid woman. She's a minister, man. Yeah. She's a pastor herself. But to answer your question in a short way, no. I feel that I had tried everything that I could have tried to salvage. The counseling was there, pastors, family consultations, a decision here at divorce. If you're really being genuine and you're not being sneaky, or you already have someone and now you're just making an excuse you want to go out. A decision at divorce is not easy. It's the hardest decision you can make. So we don't take these things lightly. It's hard to move from having someone in your bed every night and coming back home and there's nothing.
My biggest issue, and I told my wife, I respect people like you. Yeah. I told her, if you die or divorce, done with marriage. Done. I don't want to see this thing ever again.
I don't believe you. I'll tell you now.
You know why?
I don't believe this guy.
No. Also, people, as much as I feel like I'm in a good marriage, but marriage is tough.
Oh, yeah?
Marriage is hard. Marriage is hard.
Yeah.
Like, when you can see yourself humbled.
Bro.
When you are afraid of a woman who's afraid of a cockroach, but you're afraid of him. No, that thing is tough. Where the first time in my life, she's coming. Let me quickly do the dishes. Am I afraid of this one?
Yeah.
Like, that thing is tough, man. Marriage, it's not for kids, that thing.
Listen, marriage is hard, man. And I realize more and more because the other thing that made the decision for divorce to be difficult for me is that I am a relationship coach. I'm a relationship speaker. I was speaking in marriage seminars, relationships. I was on radio speaking to relationships.
So you're a big help to these people?
Bruh, and I used to hold these events and I thought I knew what works.
Do you know who you remind me of? Kemang Molapo.
Yeah, David Molapo.
David Molapo.
Yeah.
The wife and David Molapo, they were like the sweetheart of the industry.
Yeah.
Not industry, the church environment.
Yeah.
And people would say, my life was changed. My marriage was saved by just him. Looking at them.
Yeah.
And then he comes and he divorces.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's a hard decision. It's a hard thing to account for. Also, it's a hard thing to live with. Because one of the greatest sources of my guilt going into divorce was that I felt like I just decimated and destroyed this institution that I love so much, that I advocate for, and how could me, of all people, do that? And at some point I felt I can never ever go back to this. I can never ever speak into this again. It took a while after consultation and, talking to other people to say, listen, this doesn't mean that it's over for you. You are called and assigned for that. You failed in it. Be honest about where you failed. Take accountability. And I've done that. And we jump into just moving on. We jump into relationships without a new marriage, like I'm saying, but without taking stock of what went wrong, because you will repeat it if you're not careful. So I love Dr. Molapo and Dr. Mamiki so much. I had him on the podcast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I hope you saw that episode. Listen,
I didn't finish.
We had a heart-to-heart there. The hardest decision or question, again, like I'm saying, that we deal with as divorcees is, how do I continue in this thing that I know God has assigned me to be? Whereas I failed in it. But and here's how I forgave myself. I realized that when I was doing well in my marriage, when I was speaking on all these platforms and teaching people and counseling and saving marriage over the years, I did that not because of myself and how good I was and how strong I was. I did that because of the grace of God. God enabled me to do that. So my marriage was not successful at the time because of me. It was the grace of God. I was not ministering because of how good of a marriage I have, but it was the grace of God upon me. Now, why do I feel bouncing back into it requires something else, requires another qualification criteria? Whereas in the beginning, when I was okay, according to people's standards, it was not because of me. So I've learned to accept the grace of God on it, but divorce is not a plan I have in the future. I get marriage, was meant to be done once.
So, I was going to leave this one.
Go for it, brother.
The Bible is clear about if you divorce, Does that now fall by the wayside? Are you sure now you said do it once? I was willing to leave it.
Yeah.
Pastor Piri dribbled me when I asked him this question. So I want to hear it from you. Not to encourage people to divorce, but what do you think the message around it is?
Which questions particularly?
About when you're divorced.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to.
Not supposed to get married
and, unless if your first wife passes on.
Oh yes,
stuff like
of course.
That. And I think it also says the only way it's permissible for you to divorce is through infidelity.
Right.
If all those did not happen, then how do you justify divorce, and how do you then justify getting married again? So, despite what the Bible says.
So I don't believe that I shouldn't be able to remarry if I've divorced. So here's the thing, every time I get interviewed, people try to step on that, asking, why did you divorce? Now, I can talk about divorce, I can talk about my role in it, but I've got a policy. Number one is that I don't talk about the reasons for my divorce out of respect.
Correct.
For my ex, for her family, my family, and the children. Whatever I say here, the internet is not going to forget.
Of course.
Okay, so I really have to respect that. But I'm willing to talk about my contribution to it and be honest, about it. So if the Bible says infidelity, okay, not as a loophole, but as a
way out.
As a way out, that happened. That happened on both sides. But I'm not saying that everyone who goes through cheating it should just give it up as well. And it was not the reason. But it happened on both sides.
I think the one you should sit on is remarrying. I think that's a question. That's really what I'm asking you.
I don't find any fault with that. In today's context, even I wouldn't even want a woman tied down to a life where she's disqualified love and marriage because some guy, some idiot, some Ndumiso in my case, messed up. Now she's stuck in a life where now she can't. No, I don't believe in that. I will be honest with you, as I try to be honest when I talk about these things. There are things in the Bible that I boldly say I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't know. One of them is eschatology, doctrine of the last days. I'm still busy with that.
Really?
Yeah. Good to the whole rapture thing, everything. Yeah. I don't preach about it, I don't teach about it. I don't know. I want to still deal with that myself. This is one of them. And I'll be very honest. But in my relationship with God, my walk with the Holy Spirit, I don't feel Him saying no. I have prayed.
All right.
I have prayed about this.
You prayed about this, ne?
Yeah.
All right. No, I thought you were going to say like Apostle Ramashia says, everything in the Bible is correct. Everything in the Bible is correctly recorded, but not everything is correct. I thought you were going to that. No.
Guys, no.
I see.
I'm full of comment.
That's what he said. So So, my brother, let's talk.
I'm sorry, this is pre-recorded, right? Can I ask for water?
Yeah. No.
Please edit this out.
No, don't edit. Give him water. So, Mren, let's talk about fun things now. Hey.
Yeah.
I thought I was just gonna. Hey, it became cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about podcasting, man.
Sure.
The most difficult. This thing is tough.
Right?
Had I known what podcasting is about,
Yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't have started.
I want to agree with you on that. We go into these things because we see someone else successful and they're making it look easy.
Ne?
Yeah, and someone is looking at you right now saying, if Koboto can do it, Lena can do it.
I can do this.
But they've not been in here. They don't see the equipment I'm seeing. They don't see that there's a team, there's a budget, there's thinking, there's strategizing, there's time for editing, there's marketing. There are times you get stuck, you release a killer episode, and the views are low.
Let's talk about it. When we're like,
They do not see.
This one is fire. This one is setting us up.
The interviews, I thought they are going to be my breakthrough.
You see this one? I might I'll call him Ponto.
Yeah.
Bruh,
Get this out now. This is it.
It's 100 views.
So the episodes that I've done and banked on for my breakthrough did not do that for me.
No.
Episodes I did not expect are the ones that like shot up. You know, someone looked at me and like, I see your numbers, and you've been around for what? How many years now? No, your numbers don't make sense. What happened? I'm saying there are particularly 4 episodes, bro, that have taken me there. And I did not expect them. It's going to be the one.
And the sad thing was, not even the sad thing, the weirdest thing for me is, let me watch it again. Maybe I missed it. I watched it, I'm like,
and it's gold.
No, me, I'll watch it, I'm like, but I was just playing this.
Yeah.
Like, and funny enough, the ones that really shot up are the ones I didn't really want to do.
Bro, I get you. For me, listen, there's an episode I had with a lady called Umbali Likuleli from us. She still enjoys celebration.
Oh, the one who shot.
And yeah. And she shot her rapist.
Yeah.
You know, I did that episode walking into it, you know, as I felt, we gotta address rape in society. Cool. I go into it like that. Even on that day, I have technical problems. One camera or 2 cameras didn't work. And I've got 1 camera working. Like, this episode has even that footage I don't need trust. Should I even release it? The team I was working at the time encourages me. Let's release it. Let's go. We do it, bro. It becomes one of the most.
That thing.
It trended.
That thing.
What it did for her.
Yeah.
What it did for us.
For
viewership.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, you know, there's a God factor in this.
Yeah.
But to go back to your question, yes, podcasting is hard. It's not as easy. There's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
I am learning that it's fun for a very short time.
Yeah.
It's fun for a very short time.
Very short time.
After that, your commitment to it is going to be tested.
Yeah.
Do you really want to stay in this?
Ask him. I don't know. I'll take a break. When are we shooting? Wait. And now we're fortunate because certain artists, when can I come?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Because this thing is not easy, ne? And then you came out and you said, despite it not being easy, I'm going to call it the UNCHRISTIAN podcast. Please take me through the goodness being yes. UNCHRISTIAN.
The UNCHRISTIAN
like I would have called it a lot of things, ne? But UNCHRISTIAN.
Yeah.
Please tell me.
Sure. So my work, my background, what I eat and drink every day is branding and marketing. That's me. So, and to answer you very easily about that name, it was a branding thing. Okay, but there is significance to it. All right, and I get this. So, started the podcast with Nandipa, and we co-founded it together. Which year was this now? 2022, right? And we didn't have a name. We knew what direction we wanted to take it. So we we needed to craft it. We need to craft a brand, an image, to package it. Because I'm very anal about stuff like that. Based because it's a work hazard. I have to, if you're gonna release something to market, think about it, let it be thought out. And I'm very pedantic about excellence as well and all of that. And we didn't have anything at the time. We started that podcast with my iPhone. But when you look at those earlier episodes, you think I had 3 cameras. Just because the way I edited made it look like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we're like, okay, we know what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the things that the church doesn't want to talk about. Doesn't want to talk about or can't talk about. Address the tough issues in the church. Spark conversation so healing can take place in the church, in the body of Christ as a whole, but also just in society. Because we don't like talking about as Bazalwan.
Yeah.
We brush stuff under the carpet. Right?
Correct.
So that was the idea behind it. You know, so as I've said it sounds rough. That's how it was, you know, in the notes. So now we had to sit, you know, sort it out together. So as the branding mind in it and strategies in it, I'm like, okay, we need a name. I was like, this is not conventionally Christian. The answers, the conversations are not conventionally Christian. So this is unchristian. This is the unchristian podcast. And that was it. And I remember when Andy was so reluctant about it because like, this name. And the first year was just a fight about explaining ourselves. Why are we called unchristian? And people started to get it. People start to get it, and they get it now. They get it, why it's called unchristian. And it's really unchristian because of that. The perspectives are not typical Christian stuff you'd hear in church. The conversations are bold, the perspectives are bold. We invite people that will not be invited to church. But one thing for sure, if anyone was ever confused, Christ is at the center of what we are doing and in my life personally. I'm an advocate for the church. I love that. I will criticize the church in a constructive way, I hope. I hope I'm doing it that way. But that's why the unchristian part, it had to be bold like that. But on a branding level, you start to realize how smart it was.
No, look, it's genius. I look at it, I'm like, hey, that's gospel reality. I shot straight. Like you went straight for it, ne? But not to sound very biased, ne? But are the things you talk about, ne? Have you ever watched the podcast? You could be there. I cannot criticize anything you do. I just wish I could take part in some of the conversations because I know a lot of people and a lot of pastors, just between the two of us.
Yeah, sure.
They don't really like this content, because the church that we have in our head, they would like to maintain it like that.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a culture of church, they want to keep it intact.
Yeah.
And I believe for the longest of time that a lot of mine is based on a lot of musicians.
Yes.
They are bleeding inside.
Yeah.
And I feel like pastors don't really want to have these conversations. They don't. I don't know what is going to break in them, but pastors don't want to have this conversation. Yeah. And I feel like it's very, very worrying because if we claim to have a superior faith, why not question it?
Yeah.
I mean, Proverbs 27:17.
Yeah. I'm sorry to jump in there. You know, you continue now. I think on this issue, Yabaruti and the singers. Yeah. And every time I have a gospel artist on the show, I ask them, you tell me about this war you guys have. It's like, I think we don't have a solution. Yeah. We'll wait for
tell him. No, continue.
So we don't have a solution as pastors, as the church, about how we're going to balance this issue of musicians, payments, treatment of musicians. Are musicians more important than other? You know, musicians feel, hey, church is growing because of us. Wrong, and which is wrong. But there has to be a mutual respect, a mutual honoring between the pastors and stuff like that. So that conversation is important. I've seen so many of your episodes where people are telling painful stories. I would love to hear as well pastors come and tell stories as well, but their experiences that they think were negative with worshipers and musicians.
Yeah.
So I'm looking, but I will never invalidate someone's experience, if Mutu feels like I was hurt, they were hurt. Whether we can feel that they were justified or not to be hurt, a person's feelings must be respected. They were hurt, they felt they were undone. So, and this is a big conversation going forward as well in the church, because we need to sort this out. If there's division between the psalmists and the preachers, we can't have that. We need that synchrony.
It's very important.
Because the psalmist is so critical for the prophetic to be released in the word of God. And so pastors need to stop seeing singers as they are curtain raisers before they preach. I'm hoping for a solution. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
See, that one, I don't think we'll get a solution now, because people come with different experiences and they're valid on both sides.
But imagine if we were talk. Imagine if we would open up a platform.
Yeah.
And it won't happen through one session. Open up a platform. Let's talk. A TRC.
Yeah. I think we must have a gospel conference.
Yeah.
Where I'll tell you about it.
Sure.
But who is your biggest inspiration in the podcasting world? I think McG in South Africa is. Yeah.
I have a number. There are aspects that I look up to. Kuya na McG. I used to be a chiller, meaning that I never missed an episode. I don't watch anymore.
Wow.
And it just gradually happened. I started to not resonate with the content anymore. But I still think he's doing good work.
Yeah.
And the changes that I see that he's implemented, because I mean, if I'm watching your podcast or any other, I'm not just looking at the interview, I'm studying you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at how you do things. And there are a number of changes that he put in.
Yeah.
He, first of all, appointed a CEO who works there. He appointed a new content producer, Dudu, who's doing phenomenal work. Yeah. That lady's getting... I want to take her out for coffee. Just get into her mind. So MacG put in a lot of structures and things. And I've always felt like MacG had as a responsibility to teach about, hey, how did I get here? I attended his event, go Pretoria, when he was celebrating 1 million and all of that. And they were giving the mic around, for that. But the questions were just fluffy. And I wanted MacG to tell us, maybe it was even the wrong platform. Maybe I wasn't going to ask, but I didn't get the opportunity to ask him. I wanted him to say the how-to. I wish even pastors would tell us the real stuff. How did you get here? Yes, we understand grace. Yeah, but tell us.
You worked hard.
What did you do? So Umechi, I look up to him for that. To build Africa's biggest podcast, whether you agree with him or not, like him or not, it's a feat. It's worthy to be applauded. Kudos. My favorite podcast, and also I'm studying the man and studying how he does things, is Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO. I'm studying him. That is my favorite.
Stephen Bartlett is the guy who was on, what do you call it? He was a panelist on... Yes. I know the guy you're talking about.
Dragon's Den,
yes.
Yeah.
Kaladish guy.
Yeah, Kaladish guy, born in Botswana,
Yeah.
lives in the UK now, one of the successful business people.
Yeah.
I want to encourage every podcaster, study that man and how he does the podcast. He is doing things in a very unusual way. Not his interviews only, but behind the scenes. The guy's got like a team of over 35 people just on his podcast, not his other businesses, just on his podcast. He's got a full-time marketing manager who's really serious about stuff. And she did interviews where she was giving behind the scenes. And I learned so much from him, Stephen Bartlett. His methods of how he does things are unheard of. Like, one example, we do thumbnails for episodes. the first picture you see per episode. He says they will design and test out 100 thumbnails until they find the one that the crowd responds to the most. 100. 100.
But it sounds like he's got different problems. Sounds like he doesn't have money problems.
No, definitely that
You know?
that is a clear way. That's, one thing that we can learn from him. Yes, granted, we don't have his deep pockets.
Yeah.
But just to, number one, put more thought
Ne?
behind what we do. Let's not just show up and just put on mics and start talking nonsense.
And you're absolutely right. When I met this man at podcast festival,
Yeah, man.
you know what he said to me? My team.
Yeah.
Not me and Prince. So remember, having a team, it's difficult to get like-minded people
Yeah, number one.
to buy into the vision.
Yeah.
Number one. It's difficult. It's not really difficult to. People want to know what is in it for them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Until you get somebody who is deeply who sees who gets it. It's very difficult. So
It's hard.
for me, it's me and Bonso,
Yeah.
Whitney, and my sister does my TikTok.
Right.
Right? My sister does my TikTok. Bonso does the editing
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
I come up with the content.
Yeah.
Who should we should, and I come up with my own questions, and I see it becoming monotonous to a certain degree because it's too much. I've got so many ideas.
Of course.
But when you sit down, you go back to your trail of thought.
Yeah.
So I understand why you need a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Some people will say, no, man, try this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But again, it goes back to resources.
Of course.
Because if you have a team, these people are giving their time,
Of course.
and time is money. And fairly so. You can't even blame them.
Correct.
Yes, they must get paid. Editors, they spend. I used to do my own editing, and it affected other areas of my life negatively because of so many hours that
to
it
sit
goes
there.
on. And then I introduced a second show. There was a lot of hours again, and it's one of the things that contributed to me burning out at certain point, because I'm like, I'm spending so much time on this until I had to dismantle that system. It was not working. And so my podcast, which I converted into a network so that it can have other shows in it, and we're going to roll out that more. My podcast hit a lot of speed bumps because of not, number one, having a team, not delegating well enough, not communicating clearly about how this organization is running, because it is an organization. And then you have fallouts with people that you really love. You have fallouts about it. And what you were doing is you were trying to capacitate yourself so that this thing goes forward. But we need a manual, not a manual, we need guidance as podcasters of how we can set these things up. Now, I'm reminding myself why I brought up McG so much. I'm glad now that he released a book.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he released a book. First batch sold out. I think they've reprinted now. It's called Uncancelable. Yeah, why am I marketing McG?
Really?
Yeah, it's called
I
Uncancelable.
must check it
So
out.
he's taking, I hope in that book that he is taking us through with
The process.
How do you do this? And I mean, I hope he really becomes open and to share info.
You know, talking about McG today. Ne?
Yeah, bro.
Talking about that guy, ne? And a lot of podcasts, I feel like they're liberated. I think gospel podcasts are the easiest, are the hardest, and they're supposed to be the easiest.
Yeah.
Like Abazalone, I feel like they're just like, okay, this affects us.
Yeah.
Let's subscribe.
Let's talk about it.
But they don't.
They don't.
They watch McG, and McG will curse on the show. There was a time he was giving somebody a blowjob
Hey, bruh.
on the show,
Hey, bruh.
and the views went.
Hi.
We can't do that.
You know, at some point, someone was calling me the McG of gospel. I was like, hey, do I even want that? Because what you're describing is a level of freedom, is a level of
Correct.
boldness. And Mac G was hurt along the way, personally, because of the mistakes he did and how they tried to cancel him. And he was genuinely hurt. But the resilience, to the thick skin, we need that in the gospel podcasting space.
Really?
We need boldness. We need to tell truth. We need to stop being afraid about what someone is going to say. And that is the spirit with which I do the Unchristian podcast.
You don't care anymore?
No, bruh.
Well, you never cared?
I don't care how you're going to feel about an issue that needs to be discussed. I'm very responsible. Though, on the podcast, I don't talk about names, for instance. I won't come and say, this guy, so I don't do that. I don't make my podcast a tabloid podcast. But issues we are going to go for. We're definitely going to go for. And that made me unpopular with the church.
Especially with pastors.
All my speaking gigs stopped. I lost a couple of friends because I'm going for it, because people think this guy is just coming to be negative. And people thought I was coming to vent because of my negative experiences in ministry. And it was not about it. We are really building something solid. In the beginning, first year of it, 10 months into it, I was feeling discouraged. One person sends me a WhatsApp and says, because of your podcast, I now realize there's space for someone like me in the church. Whew. And I was like, this is why I'm here.
Do you know how many times I wanted to quit? Yeah. And it's those WhatsApps.
Yeah.
I listened to this. And you look at that video, 150 people watched it.
Yeah.
That video.
Yeah.
Change somebody's life.
Absolutely.
Then I come back bouncing. So he'll tell you, I do this.
Yeah.
Muna, let's go record. After that, I leave him alone. Yeah. But I still believe that our gospel space, Christian space, we're very limited. Even obviously, I watch your content. You are still guarded. There's instances you want to say it. I can see what this one wants to say.
Oh yeah.
But you can see this person is holding it back, shame, because they will cancel you properly.
Yeah. And cancellation is not such a big concern for me. I'm trying to balance being responsible because there's a way of doing things right. I can come and tell truth, come and be honest, but it can't be destructive to the body.
Of course.
At the same time.
But do you think a gospel podcast can be the number one podcast in Africa?
Yes.
A gospel podcast.
I think it certainly can. Content is king.
Ne?
Content must be raw. It must be honest. There has to be something different about podcast X so that although there are other gospel and Christian podcasts around, why do I come here?
To this one, ne?
And again, that's a branding. It's a branding and a vision conversation that you must have.
Because I remember the first episode. So I don't know if it was the first, but one of the first episodes I saw of you, I watched. You guys were having wine. I'm like, hey, I need to visit this podcast. And I've got so many questions around it. If Heineken says, Ndumiso, would like to sponsor a podcast. We see what you're doing.
Yeah.
We just want to have it on Christian podcast.
Heineken.
Sponsored by Heineken.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
I've thought about that. And no, I won't do it. I won't do it. Number one, I think in Africa and in South Africa, we've got too big of an alcoholism problem in our society for me to welcome
Promote
that.
It.
Welcome that into my space. I wouldn't. We've got an alcohol problem. You saw that through COVID. That revealed to us we've got a problem.
Even take it or leave it didn't break us.
No, take it or leave it did not break us. We're like, buying things at very expensive prices. So I on a matter of principle, I wouldn't. I know
just to shield the body of Christ.
Yeah, man. Just to And also there is a scripture, that gives us guidance that even if it feels good to me and it's not sinful per se, if it's going to really make you stumble and fall as my brother in the Lord, then I shouldn't do it.
But you still feel like drinking alcohol is not a problem.
So biblical guidance on alcohol, number one, tells us clearly alcohol is not a sin. Like drinking alcohol is not a sin.
Getting drunk.
Drunkenness is the sin. Okay. But like I said, as South Africans and Africans, it's very hard to draw that line, and therefore it's unwise for us to promote or preach that widely.
If I did it, would you judge me?
No, I wouldn't.
Really?
No, I wouldn't.
And if I did it and I called you to the podcast like now, so if I would you still sit there?
I would, because this is your podcast. That's not my thing.
Okay.
But I wouldn't put it on my podcast.
I see.
And also, I wouldn't drink the Heineken on there.
On the podcast.
Yeah, I'm still.
So we'll drink afterwards.
Yeah, nah, I don't think so. I don't even think so. When I look back at that episode we did with the wine story, the purpose of it was to debunk the issue, to talk about it honestly, because people have created a doctrine where it's a sin. So one sip, it's a sin. No, the Bible doesn't tell us that. The Bible speaks of conscience. So I think about that episode, and upon reflection, I wouldn't have put a bottle of wine there and drank it. No, but I would have still spoken about it the same way, but I would have done that differently.
After that, I looked for Kabula Church.
Hey, in the little.
He said, no, he said you're going to come now. They're dribbling.
So they're still there.
I heard so. We found them and they said they will come. Actually, need to follow up.
Yeah.
I gave up.
Yeah.
My tolerance level now has become very thin.
Yeah.
And I like telling people and they think I'm
Sure. What do you think we are missing? This is your interview, but we came to chat. But what do you think of I'll call it the gospel podcasting space? And gospel covers everything. Doesn't have to be about gospel, but just Christian gospel.
Yeah.
Where are we? What do you think? How can we grow things? How can we take things to maximum level? What are your thoughts?
I think we should break away from religion.
Yes, right?
That religion must really go, because
and how do you define religion?
Religion is what we have been told. So one thing I've seen, let me digress a bit. The Bible, we know it from another person's. A lot of us know it from. I had the scripture from somebody.
Definitely, yeah.
A lot of us don't know it for ourselves.
Right.
That's why we can be told, this is right, this is wrong.
And we don't ask.
So I asked the pastor the question. I said, "But what do you call it? And I was asking because of what I read. I said, "Is tithe really?
Yeah.
Should we really give 10% of your salary?" Pastor said, "Yes." And I said, "But the Bible clear. It says your harvest. Are you telling me there was no money for it to be made reference?" And I'm not saying we shouldn't, but it's a valid question.
Sure.
The Bible is written in a certain way. If the Bible wanted to talk about 10% of your salary, it would have said, but they don't want to hear those questions.
Yeah.
And it becomes a religion now. It becomes a doctrine. So our doctrine is church has to be a certain way. So church has to be a certain way.
Right.
And if you don't agree with how a lot of people see it, then it's no longer church.
Yeah.
So that is what's holding us back, I think.
Right.
And I didn't open this podcast so I can put my views. I've opened it to ask questions.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't understand.
Yeah.
You know? In my infancy, I believed everything.
Yeah.
Manje, I'm questioning it. Man, why should umfundisi ahlale lapha phambili in those chairs? And it's a big thing. Why should that be an issue? I'm not saying it's an issue.
Let's just talk about it.
Just talk about it. Why should it be?
You're right. There's so many things we are accepting.
Correct.
Exactly what I was saying about my podcast. We have accepted so many things that we've not questioned. Not questioning out of malice.
Yeah.
But out of knowing, okay, we're doing this, but why? Where is it?
Correct. And never mind where we can, what you were saying, I don't need a Christian answer. Let's talk frankly.
Yes.
Let's just talk as Mujita.
Yeah.
Chief.
Yeah.
That girl, Yambona.
Yeah.
And then you can't, I'm not saying we should encourage those kind of things.
Sure.
But a lot of people are thinking it. Ne?
Yeah.
But once you say it, now you're the bad person.
Yeah.
And in the Christian walk that I've had, the people who have judged and cut off people, when the time comes, you realize they were doing much, much more.
Yeah.
So are we in this Christian thing to be watchdogs to each other?
Yeah.
Or are we here to help each other?
We need to be real, brother. This is the thing that's missing. And I'm not gonna accomplish this through my podcast alone. This thing of getting us to be real and honest as talking as a church. But certainly I need to participate and contribute to this journey. We need to be real, bro.
Yeah.
If you're my friend, man, right?
And you need to tell people that I've been saying let's have coffee and it has never happened.
If you're my friend, but I can't call you and say, listen, bro. So listen, man. There's a girl in my DMs, right? And she wants me. Okay, but that's not the problem, bro. I want her to.
Correct.
Okay, bro. I'm weak right now. Talk to me. Why are we friends if I can't do that?
That's also true. If I can't say, parents,
exactly.
there are certain things we do in hiding.
Yeah.
Until one day, a guy at my church, we started sitting and talking.
Sure.
And it was half gossiping.
But
we were talking. And I was like, also these things are there. We're just really finding a way of really hiding them. And then until it explodes. But I have to agree with you that those honest conversations we need to have.
True.
And we just need to just talk about things, man.
Yeah.
After talking to you today, you've unlocked something, I think, in my head. I feel like I can look at things differently. You've spoken openly about divorce. Doesn't mean after we speak about this, I'm going to go divorce. You've spoken about mental health, and I've made an analogy of mental health is like talking about erectile dysfunction because people don't talk about that.
Yes.
It's
hard.
I must tell you that story. And then, listen, man, I think we've spent enough time on this one.
Yeah, man.
Your link with music.
Yeah.
God, please tell us what you do.
Sure.
Because I've seen you're big in the gospel space. You do a lot of, I don't know what you do.
Sure.
You're everywhere with gospel music. And please tell me why gospel music.
Sure.
Why not hip hop or
man.
piano? There's more money there.
Yeah, there is. So I said I'm a church boy. First of all, I come from a musical family. From my dad. My dad played guitar. He was a vocalist. There are music genes in the family. All my brothers play multiple instruments. They studied music.
I know your brother's drummer, ne?
Yeah.
We gym in the same gym.
See that?
And I always look at him from a distance. In that gym, you can't be like, hey.
Yeah. He lives close by here.
Yeah, we gym at Bel Air's.
Yeah.
I see him. I'm like,
so is there Usiabonga? You don't know the brother, second born. He's a lecturer and musician. His wife also lecturer and musician. They live in Durban. They play. She sings. Jabulo, my youngest brother, plays I think 4 instruments. I'm not musical, number one, but the influence is there. So it's a funny thing. I've got the ear for music, but I can't take it out. I can't articulate it. This is what that is. But if you're singing off key, I'll definitely tell you something's not right there. So the love of gospel music and worship has always been in me. Right now, I never planned to work so much in the gospel scene right now. Like I said, my main business is branding, marketing, creative design. So I do video productions, I do websites, I do all of that. My main thing is strategy, marketing strategy. and all of that. And I had opportunities just only recently to jump on into the gospel world for marketing there. And now all of a sudden I'm getting more and more opportunities for that. But it was never a conscious decision. I always kept my choice of clientele wide open. So a doctor could come to me for branding, a small business owner, anything. So I used to serve a wide range of clientele. Now I'm realizing that even this was in me, the business of music. But I'm still on the side of marketing and branding. I'm not a promoter. I'm not I don't host events.
So in short, Bonzo here has got a gospel event happening.
Sure.
He had brought Ndogozambam.
Sure.
Bonzo then needs to call you and say, "Bruh, I've got this. I need bums on seats."
Yeah. I will sit with him. I'll give him a strategy. Let's do it. I'll roll it out. And
Chiwa, Mr. Philip.
Yo, bro, I don't know, man.
No.
I don't know if this thing is so nerve-wracking. Right now, I'm trying to fill up Carnival City.
For which
for Halal Africa.
Yeah.
It's a very enjoyable journey. It's hard. It's cutthroat. It's nerve-wracking though. Yeah, look, you getting closer to the event. You're like, these numbers.
Numbers are it.
And you're having tough conversations with the bosses and all of that.
Yeah.
But I realize it's a space I love. Music and worship is always part of me. So I will not stop doing my normal work with other clientele and all of that. With ministry as well, media, church media is so close to my heart.
Which church do you go to?
Let's go to Glory Worship Center. Pastor Temba Manana is my pastor. Right. Branches in 4 places. Bramfontein, Rivonia in Sentin, Centurion, and one in Eswatini. So I serve there.
You serve there?
And I don't serve as a pastor there. Kimo media. Media. I'm not a
But if they make a mistake and give you a mic,
it's
you'll deal with it.
It's perhaps going there.
Yeah.
It was a agreement that we had together because when I divorced, I became churchless. That's another part of the journey.
Somewhere else.
Yeah,
you don't know. So the reason why I've been insisting that we need to have this conversation. So the gospel podcast,
man.
The gospel reality podcast, we want to have our own album, right?
Right.
So the podcast must have its own album.
Oh man, that's brilliant.
So we've started writing the music.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna so we've taken a decision, maybe equal, but we want to record it live. We'll record it in a studio.
Okay.
And then after that, when we do the launch, then we're gonna do a show.
Right.
So I was like, hey. So somebody said, no man, talk to this guy. This is the right guy to talk to.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So we need to talk about it, and
Interesting.
I think you need to take me through. So that invoice, I'm a fellow podcast.
No, bro. Listen,
there's no money.
Yeah, brother.
Reduce.
I love collaboration. I love working on such things because I connect. Because there's it's not just about doing it. There's a cause. There's a thing we are trying to do, and oh man, I'd love to be part of that.
Really?
Please.
How anytime?
Please.
I'd like to be part of it. At 0.
Oh, please, bro.
So,
that's a yes.
So we must check it out because you said a lot of profound things in this. Must reinvent ourselves.
Oh yeah.
If I've got my songwriting is not bad. And every artist that has come to the podcast, I said, let me write a song for you. They said, no problem. So we'll come. So the idea is we have a show. Different artists come. They do their one song.
Oh, yeah.
They do a song that I've written for them.
Oh, man.
Or we write it together.
Wow.
And everyone said, cool.
Yeah.
As long as they're part of writing that song, so we can share this. I said, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought, then they can sing it. They can drive it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it will be a podcast album.
Oh man, that's excellent. We need to use these platforms of ours to pivot into other things. To other. Let me tell everybody, like, you know this, I know this. Just tell everybody. Listen,
I'm not sure if I know. But
there is, right now in South Africa, there's no money in podcasting.
No, there isn't.
So the things that you see us doing, no matter how many followers I have, I just hit 10,000 subscribers. All of that viewership, the celebrities that we rub shoulders with during interviews. Don't think that we have money. Listen, it's a big misconception.
Yeah.
Yes, there are opportunities to monetize on podcasting,
Correct,
and we
yes.
need more education on that. But this thing is a calling for us. But once now the platform is built, what's the next step?
Correct.
Let's do things and build on it. That'll be more impactful and lucrative. Yes, let's make money off it.
Nah.
Yeah.
But also, we need to encourage abazalwane. They must really, click that subscribe button.
Cool.
When you are watching, just
Cool.
and it costs nothing. Just subscribe.
Just click on subscribe button. Yeah. What are your thoughts on gospel events? Whatever comes to your mind. Pricing, quality. What do you think? And there's so many of them right now. Hey.
No, I don't know how to explain it. Have you ever seen what's her name? That DJ who dances and she's half naked.
Waffles.
Waffles.
Yeah.
I think she's not the greatest DJ, but her show. Her show. Like she puts on a show.
Right.
And I feel like we've proven that we can fill up arenas.
Oh yeah.
But we need an extra service offering.
Yeah.
From there. The showmanship in Ayandantanzi.
Yeah.
At least it came from the sky, you know.
Yes.
I feel like if you look at a Beyonce show, she takes it
Get you.
another level.
I see.
So I feel like musically, the gospel industry is proper.
Right.
And the music we producing
are
in South
good.
Africa,
Yeah.
it's proper. The showmanship, I think we need a
We are
bit
lacking.
more.
Yeah.
I think we need a bit more.
For me, I'll add to that showmanship, but also the business side of things.
Yeah. Yes.
Business side
True.
of it, we need to be more strategic, smarter in that as well. If you look at the level, people like Kirk Franklin are doing their things. Yes, they're ministering, but there's a huge business machine behind it.
Too much. So
yeah.
And the showmanship will talk to the business. You can see when effort was put here.
Oh yeah.
You can see what
yeah.
these people work. So the gospel space, we've seen that we can do a DVD recording comfortably. Proper producers, proper band, proper BVs. But the service offering, I think, needs to be taken up a touch.
I get you. Advise me on this, because it's the one thing I admire about you. Hugely. And I don't think there's a podcaster I've seen do this as well as you, right? Your level of preparation and research.
Yeah.
How do you do it without revealing sources and stuff? What's your approach?
It's very easy. So one thing I learned from inception is be really interested in the person.
Yes, sir.
When you start being interested, when an artist comes here, I've listened to their albums.
Sure.
That's why I can talk about them.
Sure.
I've called people. Man, this guy, tell me, is he this and that and the other?
Sure.
And read up. So bigger artists, they've got read ups. You'll find some interesting things.
Of course.
So I just take proper interest in them. And the reason why I do this is because I really love gospel music.
Of course, yeah.
And I follow them. So when I even do research, I'm not starting from scratch.
You already have a
I've got a lot of information
Yeah.
about a lot of people. And I think it's God. Some of the information on the podcast, I'll decide to leave it out.
Right.
Either I feel like it's too invasive,
Okay.
too personal.
Yeah, I get you.
But it happens on the spot.
Yeah.
Like with you, there were difficult questions I wanted to ask you. But something in me just said, it's not important.
I'm willing to come back to deal with those questions, by the way.
Ne?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am. If I want to have integrity about being a vulnerable, open person, like I was saying,
Correct.
I should be able to talk about such things. Yeah.
But remember, it's an elephant. So, so I think the chunk that we've chowed today is good enough.
Yeah, man.
But before you go, I need to ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Is it true that you've got a lower back problem?
Bruh? Yes.
Huh?
Yeah. So I've got a. Hey, that's another story of my life.
I left that out on purpose.
No, really. I speak about that.
Yeah.
So yes.
Really?
Yeah. I generally speak about my health. So I have a lower back problem. 2013, I had my first back operation.
So it's that deep?
Yeah. I had 2 slipped discs in my back. So you've got your vertebral bones that make up your spine. But in between them, there's cartilage that cushions so that bone does not move against bone.
Yes.
So it's like a shock absorber. It protects the bones and all of that. Now, when it's a condition that happens to a number of people. So when that in-between cartilage disc slips out, it presses on your nerves, your spinal nerves.
It must be painful as well.
So that's painful on the back, but also it comes down to the legs again, because your nerves down there feed the legs. Okay, so they had to go in, cut out the part that was causing problems. So I recovered from that. Long story short, 2021, beginning of the year, I spent 6 months down. 2021 down, and that coincided with my separation. Okay, now I can't do anything. I'm flat down. Then I was working for an agency in the same field that I said I'm in. Lost that job. 3 things. The doctors again diagnosed me same time with depression and anxiety. So I'm doing all of these happening at the same time. I'm in pain. I'm separated. Income is affected. I'm down flat. I don't know what to do. COVID is here. So now I'm supposed to go for an operation, and I accept that. Okay, fine. I have to go for a second operation. Then COVID waves hit, and theaters are closed. And so there's another further 4 months that delayed my operation, and there's damage that was happening even further during that time. But because my operation was not life, it was not a death or life situation, they called it an elective surgery.
Course, yes.
So they said those ones are not good. It can mean as things are happening. So I finally got my operation 2021. They said that in October, they said the recovery should be 6 months to a year. So with this one, I did an operation called a spinal fusion, where they put steel rods and plates in your spine to hold them together, just down there. So I've got three vertebrae bones that I held together firmly to try to solve the problem. But from that day, and regardless of their promise of 6 to 12 months, I have been dealing with back pain daily. There is not a moment that I'm not in pain. It's just how much pain. I'm sitting here with you, I'm in pain.
You see why I wanted to leave it out. But the biggest issue with me being a man is there are certain manly duties you are expected to carry.
Exactly.
So when you're with your woman now, I don't know, please take that pot plant. You can't do that.
I can't.
That must deal with your psyche. Ne?
Yeah. It does. But the people who are close to me do understand. And in the beginning, I'd feel like, so self-conscious.
Ne?
Then there's a funeral in the family. My daughter must go do 1, 2, 3.
And you can't.
And you're like sitting down there. Now it's like, man. And sometimes you just give in. Let me try.
Then you hurt yourself.
Then you're alone. So right now, I have to learn to take care of myself. I have to realize that daughter or manhood is not about lifting heavy stuff.
Ne?
And people understand more. So yeah, man, I'm in my physical health. I deal with that. I'm seeing physio for it, but it also contributes a great deal to some frustration I have about it.
Correct.
It contributes to my depression as well. When I mean, think about pain every day. You can deal with pain for a day or two.
100%.
But, bruh, I'm saying from 2021 until today, daily pain. I don't know how I'm going to wake up. If I say to you, hey, so we're going to have some coffee in the morning, I could be feeling good the night before. I don't know how I'm going to wake up. So, yes, I deal with that. I'm trying to work at it. I'm trusting God. It gets very emotional for me. So, in my mental health, like I said, coupled with that is living with depression, anxiety. But recently, when the year started, got diagnosed with ADHD. That's crazy.
ADHD.
Attention deficit
Disorder.
And I'm in my late 30s. And ADHD handling is something that starts in childhood. So I've been living my life undiagnosed. So when I found this out, it did two things for me. First, it scared me a bit. But also, it helped me to make sense of so many things that I've been experiencing in my younger years. Why I couldn't focus at certain things. Why are my energy levels behaving the way they are, and so on and so on, because there's so much to it. Why do I struggle with certain projects? Why do I struggle with seeing through certain things? And the worst thing right now, bruh, with this, it's not even being open about it, but it's having people that you work with understand you, because you are not going to be like them. If you and I have a project together, and
I mean, when?
Yes, like now we have a project together. It's something that we'll talk about all technicalities, but then I want to sit you down for 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to say, I want to explain something to you about me. That, bruh, there are days and there are times where I feel like dying. I just feel like going.
That deep?
Yeah. Like, I feel... There are times where I'm going to say to you, so I'm going to do this for you by Friday. I can plan all of that, but my mind and body can tell me we're not going there. Okay, so I'm learning right now to balance that. I mean, the diagnosis was an empowerment, so I can know what to do and not be confused.
Did you say it's an empowerment?
Yeah, the diagnosis was an empowerment.
So mental strength is good when you can now see it as an empowerment.
My perspective on mental health is good. I wouldn't say my mental health is good. My perspective on it is good. I know that mental health is not a disability. I know it's nothing to be ashamed about. I know it doesn't mean end of life. So the perspective is powerful. Okay. But dealing with it is hard. So I deal with that on a daily basis. So I would go to an event. Sometimes I have to leave early. My back is killing me.
At that time, which I fill up. You have to leave the fill up.
Yeah, lapo, if it's an event that I'm doing and I'm part of the team, I'll stay. I'll see it through. But just wouldn't tell me I'm going to a concert just because I bought a ticket and attend. I will leave because I can't. Hey. And for people living with ADHD, our social battery is very low. So if I posted about this after the podcast festival, someone took a photo of me and Dudu, my co-host. We're talking to someone, and they caught a bad photo of me. Dudu's talking with this person. We are three of us together, and my face at the moment shows you that I've completely zoned out. And I posted about it. Guys, this is a picture of my life in days. Sometimes my social battery was finished during this important conversation, but finished. So I'm trying to put systems now that I know in around me in work, because I can be forgetful with scheduling. I can not have the energy for something. I can plan my week and my month, diarize it, everything is there. But I'm not sure if I'm going to get there. So while we are even talking about it, my next appointment leaving here now is going to see a psychiatrist, not a psychologist. I'm going back to see a psychiatrist because there have to be some changes in my medication. And one of the reasons why I'm so open about this, bro, and I know sometimes my friends, family members, or church people can feel uncomfortable with how raw I am about this, is because we have to normalize this conversation. There are thousands and millions of people going through various things in their mental health, and they feel they can't talk. So let's say I have a client. I'm already nervous about how they're going to feel if I will tell them this. Confidence in me, So it's a hard place to be at. I'm new at this even. The conversation is growing about this. Trevor Noah did a podcast interview about this with someone recently. Articulated our experiences so well, and to hear someone on that level was validating. It was like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not alone in this. But yeah, those are my health challenges that I do, and these things come up anytime. So grief, losing my mom. Messed up whatever rhythm I had personally in my health and mental health. Messed that up. Now I'm starting from scratch because I'm dealing with that. That's a new territory altogether. It disturbed me altogether. I'm genuinely not okay. I'm working and pushing and showing up because of my kids.
Nah.
Yeah. If it was up to me, I would take a sabbatical right now. I'd strip down, lose everything, go sell everything, live somewhere in a 2-room, and just take time for me. But the balance now of having to work and life goes on. They say, man, listen, grief is hard. Take all the time you need. Be kind to yourself. Take it one day at a time. My problem is that the world around me does not move one day at a time.
Of course.
My mom also was in medical health. She was a nurse for all her life. Yeah, man. So the thing is, acknowledge what you're facing. Be kind to yourself. But you're not the same as other people. But do something about it. Work at it.
Wow. You know, when you came here, I said 45 minutes. The clock went.
I don't want to look at the clock because I'm like,
The clock went. My brother, in closing,
Yeah.
my brother, I've heard you. I think I've taken courage, and more than anything, you showed me, it's good to sit with people who've got different experiences than you.
Sure, man.
It's a rude awakening that says,
Yeah.
oh, you think you've got problems? Talk to other people, and you've just,
Yeah,
my ground is just,
Yeah, man,
my feet are on the ground now.
I appreciate it, man.
Because I feel like, hey, I've got problems.
Yeah.
This and that. And you realize, you know what, as long as you've got another day,
Hey, bro.
it's about grand.
Yeah, and what I want people to take away from this is that whatever you can accumulate in life, whatever you're working on, make sure that you prioritize your health. Your spiritual health, emotional health, mental health, physical health. Please prioritize you. I'm learning in my late 30s how to put me first, and I don't know how to do that. And I'm fighting every day to learn.
Me? My brother, I say strength to you. Eh?
Yeah,
I hope you get to the other side
Yeah,
with your head raised high, because it cannot be easy.
Yeah.
It cannot be easy. The last question is being sour.
You
don't want to be too invasive
Of course,
at the same time.
of course. Yeah.
But I appreciate you. But before you go, my brother, what would you like to see change in the gospel music industry?
I'd like to see a number of things. Authenticity return. We spoke of showmanship.
Yeah.
Love it, good. But I do not want us to forget that Christ is at the center, should be at the center in the gospel music industry. So I'm enjoying right now seeing the word Jesus returning to the lyrics of songs. So authenticity with God and yourself. I'd like to see more professionalism and integrity in how artists shape their careers, their events, and just do the all of that. I'd also like to see more originality. And I must say though that we've grown in that in South Africa a lot. We are writing more songs, live recordings, and so on. On a business level, maybe you see now, maybe it's something I'll talk to you about as well in our work discussions. On a business level, I'm not happy with the loss of remuneration that artists have suffered because these things are no longer there. And there's no replacement.
Of course.
Those cents from Spotify. And people are wondering, why are artists doing so many events? Because the revenue model.
Yeah. Hard copy, sure. And if Ndumiso Mazibuko was not born, what would the world miss out on?
Wow, powerful question, man. There's a creativity and a uniqueness I bring to every interaction and meeting that I sit at. There's a boldness that I carry. There is a level of honesty and vulnerability that I do things with, and I'm still growing also in that. The world would miss seeing someone completely sold out for God, but has found a way to be unconventional.
Guys, you heard it first, from Ndumiso Mazibuko, from the Gospel Really UNCHRISTIAN Podcast.
Welcome.
Ponzo, do you have a question for him?
Guys, there's collaboration here. I think something is brewing here. Honestly, I'm not saying come every week.
Something is brewing.
Something is happening.
I felt it too.
Something needs to continue happening. This was great. We're well over 2 hours.
It doesn't feel like it.
No, something is cooking.
Something is cooking.
Thank you, man.
But my brother, thank you very much for coming through.
I appreciate you so much.
I know we're gonna still talk after this, but just know that you're on the right track, my man. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it. I know, but you're on the right track.
Thank you, bro.
Keep at it. And I'm saying we must just have those coffees we've been talking about. Just guy what? Just talk nonsense.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be a serious, just coffee. Then I feel like you're a cool guy.
Thanks, man. I feel like you're a totally great guy too, man. Thank you so much.
So this guy has got a bottle before, but and we've not seen him use it.
No, but we've not seen him. Okay. A red one.
Before we go, we've got a sponsor here. Your body, your treasure. This is bath foams. So tell to your back. And you chill, you even search a ripumala. Your back is hid.
Thank you so much.
So bath foam. Yes. Right.
This is beautiful.
So take it.
What other products do they have? Or is this for now?
They've got shower gels, bath foams, bath bombs, bath salts. Those. I only use the shower gel.
Massaging oils, whoever is behind the massaging oils.
Oh yes, massage oils. Massage oil is cool. So please check it out. Check out check it out on their own Instagram.
Absolutely, I'd love to do
that. Vote EFF. Okay. You said you wanted. There you go, my brother. Please use them.
I use them. Thank you so much.
And this one you must post about it.
I post about. Wait a minute, sorry, man. I see something else here. Bath salts.
Yes, those are bath salts. Those are from our sponsor.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, so I haven't bathed in 5 years. I only take showers. I must clean the bath.
Yeah.
Only shower I take.
Beautiful.
But my brother, thank you very much for coming through.
I'm honored to be here, bro. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. Thank you for your consistency. You and your team, Ponzo, thank you for always being here, bro. The podcasting landscape is better. Because you're here. Because you're here.
No.
And what people don't know about this man is so kind. So kind.
Am I?
So kind. And you've showed me a kindness. Bro, thanks.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even see it.
One example, we were at the festival,
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and me and my team were a bit underprepared.
Yeah.
what happened? We lost batteries for our cameras. You gave us your cameras on the spot.
Oh.
And it was not even a thing. You're like, oh, yeah, sure. My team was shocked. I was like, this guy is so kind.
Oh.
No, bro, you're kind. Just generally, just not even the first thing.
Really?
Anyone, and I think that's the same testimony everyone has of you. So, siyabonga.
Really? At least I've got a good name. But thank you for the beautiful words.
Yes, sir.
My son is here. Mohau is here for the first time watching the podcast. And my boy must grow, so you can take it over. Eh?
Yes.
Even my back now is I'm not there. But ladies and gentlemen, other than that, Akhotso Ebelilo. You know when I say that, I hear the music playing.
Yeah.